Every artist can learn from other artists, and comics and manga are some of the best teachers out there. Today, I'm going to go over a few books that I'll be personally studying. I'm going to show exactly what I plan to learn from each book. Stay tuned. So, when I'm between projects, I like to take a break, a rest period. As I've discussed in previous episodes, during this rest period, I also like to study and improve upon what I already know. I like to tweak things, learn things, evolve. And the best way I know how to do that is learn from the professionals. Learn from things that already exist. Learn from comics and manga. Any inspiration that gets you to that next level. Most people in fine art would call these master studies, which it's exactly what this is. My goal isn't to imitate 100%. It's to recreate and understand how they're doing the things they're doing. And hopefully I can add that into my own workflow. So here's the books that I plan to use, starting with book 1, Batman, The Black Mirror. This one's by Scott Snyder, Jock, and Francesco Francavilla, maybe. The first time I read this comic was actually on my phone, on Hoopla, and I was so impressed by the story that I had to buy a physical copy. This Batman comic is like no other Batman comic I've ever read, and the fact that it has a lot of horror elements in it. And what really attracted me to it is the art style, the way shadows were handled, the way color is handled, use of silhouette. All of these things working together help the tone of this book, and it really feels like a horror book. From this book, I plan on studying the inking, the colors, and the panel layouts. This book kind of checks all the boxes for me of everything I want to learn and how to set mood and tone in a horror story. So, this is book 1, Batman, The Black Mirror. Next is The Boogeyman by Mathieu, Salvia, and Djet. This is another book that I read digitally. And in reading digitally, I got to experience the story on a smaller screen, but I was impressed again with just how well the story was told and how well the story was drawn. So of course I had to buy another copy. I love the drawing style, so the inks are simple yet edgy. The line work has energy, and the use of shadows is great for the tone and weight of the story. Then, how dynamic the panels are. The backgrounds help ground the characters. So many interesting camera angles and choices. I have a lot to learn from studying this book. This is another one that checks all the boxes for me. I can learn how Djet crafted the pages, how he picked his camera angles, how the colors were added, the shadows, the effects. I'm going to have a lot of fun studying from this one. The next one is Death Note by Tsugumi, Ohba, and Takeshi Obata. This one is definitely one of my favorites. I've read Death Note many times. I've watched the anime many times. And I keep coming back to Death Note, 1, for the story, but 2, for how the story unfolds, how it's told. The creators said that there isn't a deeper meaning to Death Note. That any meaning that people are taking from it is basically their own. But for me, the themes that are in Death Note make me want to read it again. Now, I'd love to be able to draw like Obata, and though I felt I would need several dozen leaps and jumps in order to get to that level, I still think that there's a lot to be learned from this manga. So I'm choosing very specific things from Death Note. I want to study how Obata handles inks on faces during these dark moments, and how he handles characters talking, but keeping it interesting. The one thing about Death Note is the whole story has a lot of talking. It has people talking to each other, people talking to themselves, people talking in groups, just people talking. But never did I get bored at watching or reading these people talking. because one, the subject matter was interesting, but two, I think Obata handled these conversations in an interesting way. And I know that my future comics have talking in them, and it's going to have people talking and explaining things, and I want to know a better way to make those exchanges of information interesting. So, that's the ability I want to acquire from Death Note. How draw people talking and keeping it interesting. I've got 2 entries for this next one. These two kind of go hand in hand. This is Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1 by James Tynion IV and Werther Dell'Edera. And then I also have the art book for Something is Killing the Children. Same writer, same artist. And one, I feel like there's a lot to be learned from this book as well. A lot of story elements and how a story is initiated and unfolds. But mainly, I want to focus on mood from Something is Killing the Children. I think even though the art style is fairly simple, Dell'Edera manages to convey energy, emotion, a feeling, a sense of dread in his lines. And then the colors on top of that help sell the entire idea. I think that Dell'Edera's art style is just proof that simplicity can work if well framed. And the reason I'm also going with the art book is because within the art book, not only do you get amazing artwork from other artists that are inspired by Something is Killing the Children, but you also get a overview of scripts, the script that Tynion wrote, thumbnails or roughs from Dell'Edera, final inks, and then final colors. And you get to see it all on one page. And it kind of shows you exactly how Something is Killing the Children was made. And I think that that's worth looking at. How Dell'Edera takes his rough ideas and brings them to finish. I think that's definitely something I need to learn. And the last 2 books, Bad Dreams in the Night by Adam Ellis and Let Me in Your Window, also by Adam Ellis. Now, I call him still to this day Adam Tots because that is his username, and that was his username when he worked on these old comics from College Humor. And back in those days, he made a lot of funny comics, a lot of comedy comics. And I've been watching him all this time. So over 10 years of me watching this artist, from just posting web comics, short comic strips on a website, to now he has 2 published books. I think he actually has another one, which is like an RPG character book, but I don't have that one. Oh, I wasn't interested. But these 2 books are very inspiring to me. Out of all of the artists that I've shared, out of all the books that I've shared, I think that Adam Ellis is very close to where I want to be. As far as his art style is cartoony, it is simple yet well drawn, and the way he tells short stories with color and how he handles setting up his stories, I think I can take a lot from him. Adam doesn't color his own work. I'll have to get the actual color artist of who does his coloring. However, I can still learn from these books. I can learn how to take my cartoony style, my simplistic style, and color it in a way that still evokes the mood, the fear, the dread that I want to come out on the pages. So for me, Adam Ellis's work is kind of goals. And one day I hope to also have my own books published. Those are the 6 books I plan to study from. Hopefully, from each book, I can learn something new, something different to combine into my own style to make my very next comic better. I'll be sharing the process all along the way. I'll be sharing exactly what pages I'm looking at, what I'm studying from, and what sort of studies I'm doing in order to progress. And then after I finish all of these studies, I plan on starting my very next short comic project. So if any of that's interesting to you, please subscribe. But how about you guys? What books would you study from? What artists would you love to learn something from? If not in person, from their artwork. Put them down in the comment section below and keep drawing. See you next time.